Summer holidays in full swing already for some kids and just days to go for others. Many parents are still frantically trying to organise childcare if they can afford it, to pay for it, because the average cost is now £943 per child. And that includes things like childminders, holiday clubs and summer schools, which are just too expensive for some people. So could this be the answer, giving parents paid leave from work for the holidays to save money and get parents back into the workplace? What do you think, Cal?
Well, I mean, hopefully you're going to break it down later on in the conversation so that we can understand the concept, because in principle, it sounds fantastic, but I'd love to hear the mechanics of it, which I think you're going to break down. But from my perspective, I just have to be really systematic, otherwise I can't cope. So I do organise like a little schedule. So I get the calendar out really early and we look at mapping out where they're going to be.
How early is early?
About a month in advance.
OK.
So I sit down, but I've got my schedule, so I know what loose dates I'm doing, I know whatever. So we'll just sort of map it out. We go, right, a week there with Granny, a week there with Nan, Grandad, and, you know, I'm doing loose there. So, like, yesterday, they came to work with me. That's kind of, you know, you just have to make it work. And that's the way I kind of do it, and just try and spread it out as much as possible. I mean, my children have 8 weeks to fill, so it's really challenging and it is very expensive. I mean, even if you take them to the cinema, it's a lot of money.
But what if, like, although you've mapped it out, what if when it comes to the day one of them's sick or they can't do it?
Ah, well, that's where I have what's called a pencil system in place. So
You're so organised, I love it.
So I book people as my backup. So I go, OK, look, Mum, Dad's got them on this day. Would you just be my little backup? She's like, yeah, I got you, babe, got you. So I kind of have people on, like, standby in case anything happens. I have to as well, because I work 2.5 hours away from my children.
Yeah.
And, you know, a train strike could happen, a cancellation might happen, you know, and, you know, or a protest in London, and I'm buggered. I can't get home. So, well, you know, you do have to think about it.
I think that's really nice that Kelly's got a pen and pencil system. That's really amazing. But for myself, I had a problem. I was working, you know, getting up at, getting into work for 9, getting home at 9, and I didn't have the outside network because I lived in London and all my family live in Luton, so I didn't have that network. So I was relying on a childminder, and at that time, which was, you know, 10, 15 years ago, I was paying £500 a week for a childminder to look after my children. So I was literally working to live, but I had to do that for my mental health, because I didn't want to be that person that's like, you know, I need to be doing something. But, you know, I admire that you've got that such a system in place. You know, and I've always said that it's nice if employers can start creches of some sort, or some sort of subsidised help for...
Well, in my other job, that's sort of what we have. So I'm off for August, the whole of August I'll be off, and that's because at the start of the year before, you put in a request to have a month off the following year. Now, a month off doesn't have to be in August, and it's not just something that's available to parents, it's available to everybody. But essentially, you take a month off unpaid, but what they do is they will then pay for 11 months across 12. So whichever month you're off, you will still get a pay packet at the end of that month. So I will still get paid at the end of August. The younger people I work with, they use it for things like going travelling for a month. Grandparents use it to give their kids a helping hand, and it's something that's very attractive to a worker, because if you're getting to that age and you realise that there's a company that offers this, you realise that for 4 weeks I won't have to pay childcare. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you are a supermarket or you know, something in retail, or if you're, I don't know, a postal service of some kind. It is possible to offer that to your workers, because in that month they're not paying you, so it's not as if they have to pay you and pay somebody else to do your job. They're not paying you, so for that month the money then is available to pay for a seasonal worker, for example, to come and work for that month.
It's a genius idea. Such a
great
idea.
And it then means that I now don't have to think about childcare and the mapping and the schedule that you were talking about, because I'll be off for August. And I think that companies have to understand that you also have to think about your staff, your workers, be their parents or not. If you make their life slightly less stressful, you will get far more out of that worker for your business.
And loyalty.
And loyalty. Because It doesn't, you know, yes, we're talking about parents, but it's not just about if you're a parent. Having that sort of leeway is helpful. But every single parent across the country, across Britain, for 6 to 8 weeks has to worry about how they're going to be able to look after their kids, how they're going to be able to afford to look after their kids, and how they can make sure that their kids don't get in trouble because they're wandering the streets. And it's only fair that a business can help you facilitate that and make life easier. You know, they have a responsibility. However, we did do a poll on this online and we asked, should parents get extra paid leave for the summer school holidays? Yes, 31%, no, 69%. But I hope, having broken it down in that way, maybe there's a bit more of an understanding of how that
because it's not fair on people that don't have
But it's available to
What if you don't want to spend a month with your kids? Does that count?
I'll look into my terms and conditions for you and find out.